What's it like to have a normal family, where you come home from school after having such a great day, getting to class on time, acing a quiz, your crush sliding you a note in class, asking if you like him, so you grab that paper, you circle yes, and he's stuck with you forever. Then later, your friends ask to come over, so you bring them to your house, your family greets you guys, you watch movies, you eat together, and then you finish the rest of the week great. What is that like? Well, I'll tell you what it's not. For me, it was going to school, having all that good happen, and then the thought of coming home and not knowing what kind of day it would be for me. It's not necessarily my family that shapes my day at home. It's one person. One person who can change my day from bright to dark, who could turn a home, a place that's supposed to be your peace, your sanctuary, where you can retreat and recharge, into a place of disappointment, pain, and sadness. What's it like to come home and see empty beer bottles or cans across the kitchen countertop? What's it like to live with an alcoholic? You see, it's the feeling where you enter a safe space and you feel the air tighten, the tension, your heart beats faster and you slowly hold your breath, where you know one word, one action, or anything can set him off. So when it comes to inviting friends over, I hesitate. I warn them about my stepdad and how he can be when he's drunk. And thankfully, I've been around friends who know what kind of home that is for me. They care for my well-being. They make sure that I'm good and that I'm happy. Now, to give you an understanding of how he drinks, he'll go to a liquor store every single day, buy a 2 or 4 pack of 24-ounce Bud Light beers, drink them all, and start again the next day. Just to remind you, our fridge is not empty. He has cans in there, several cans, yet goes out of his way every day after work and buys more for the road. We even have designated trash cans and trash bins on the side of his house just for his bottles and beers alone. I mean, it's a good thing he recycles everything himself and gets money out of it. But where does that money go to? To more beer. And more beer leads to more drinking, which brings out a side you would have never seen coming. Now, do you know what it feels like to be dehumanized? To feel less than you already are, and yet still be demanded respect from an alcoholic? Have you seen the way they get when they're angry? When their appearance turns dark and menacing, how their jaw clenches, eyebrows drop, the eye contact that feels like it's piercing through your soul? The complete physiological changes of the entire body. I, myself, found that the most absolute, scariest, and most powerful way to make someone feel so small and inconsequential is through yelling. Now, with that, let's add some intensity. Throwing objects, banging on furniture, slamming doors, all the works. Now, this one time, everyone, my siblings and I were all hungry. Just to give you perspective, I'm one of 7 siblings, the 3rd oldest in general, but the oldest in the house. So we were trying to decide what to eat. So my stepdad suggests a burger joint. It's called Star Burger. Now, for him, he's the type that he doesn't care if you're picky. You're gonna get what you get, and you're gonna like it. Now, my youngest brother, Jay, at the time, he was about 7 years old. He, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. He's always specific on what he wants, or else he won't even eat it or touch it. So to his request, he wanted a burger with no tomato. So that was that. When our stepdad went to go get the food, he ordered a burger with everything on it, without taking my brother's request into consideration. When he got home, he handed the desired burgers to everybody, and my brother got his, saw the tomato, and didn't even touch it. He complained about how he didn't want it and how he specifically asked for a burger with no tomato. Now, yes, he could have easily just took out the tomato, but to him, it was already tainted. So what was the point of even doing it? So he just sat there, upset, not throwing a fit, just kind of sad and out of it. At this point, my stepdad started getting angry. He started yelling with rage, telling my little brother to eat it, starve, or be grounded. How he doesn't care whether there's tomato on the burger, that it's healthy and to stop being a little baby. Now, I know that sounds like a medium dispute, but throw in some tension, some profanity, and you get a whole different experience. So he comes over, grabs the burger, some other food off the table, and throws it. There's a box of napkins and basically fries in there, and he throws that across the kitchen floor. So to put it in perspective, he walked out of that kitchen with rage. He got his food, threw it on the table, walked back to his room, slammed the door, and we all just sat there in silence. What were we to do? I look at my little brother, and he's crying. I know that scared him. The way my stepdad presented himself, released his emotions with pure anger in a way he couldn't even control himself. I was at a loss for words. My family and I see both sides of him. We know how he is, how he gets. We know what it's like. For 11 years now, I've always stood by my mom and comforted her and my siblings because they're younger than me. And to experience that kind of verbal and emotional abuse at a young age, 7, 8, 11, 12, 16 years old. The process of beating a person down and making them feel bad about themselves is just one of the worst feelings in the world. We walk around wounded, living our lives confused and always feeling bad about ourselves on a regular basis. It's the emotional pain of a physical attack, but just without the bruise. That's what it's like. You see, I question myself and my situation a lot. I view all aspects possible, weighing the pros and cons of living with an alcoholic and how that gave me a sense of understanding for the world and for others. Living in this experience not only sheds light on how interactions change when under the influence, but it shows how one can live through it and how we can overcome it or find some peace with it. But in this sense, my home, what exactly am I to do when someone is repeatedly destroying my sense of peace? I found a quote in an article from John Denver. I believe that we are here for each other, not against each other. Everything comes from an understanding that you are a gift in my life, whoever you are, whatever our differences. Now, I struggle even saying this story because I realize I casted my stepfather in a bad light. My stepdad is one person I can be there for. I am not against him. I do not hate him. He's still an important person in my life. His alcoholism isn't all of who he is. He's a great man when he's sober, but when he's drunk, it's different. He wakes up at 4 a.m, goes to work the whole day, sometimes does 24-hour shifts. He's a power lineman, so he works on electrical poles, so that's his job. His focus is work, family, and money. Not in that specific order, but generally those ideas. So on those days when he's home and he's sober, he's always wrestling and farting on the boys, always cracking jokes with the girls, and tries his best to go out of his way and do everything he can for his family. See, it's hard. You get one kind of person one day and another the next. It's difficult to feel powerless in these kinds of situations because I can't just tell him to stop. I can't do much in this scenario, but I know for a fact it taught me more than I know. Everything comes from an understanding. His situation came from something, and I'm not here to uncover it. I'm not here to figure out what it is. I understand that I live with someone who changes and challenges my view on the world. Someone who taught me that viewing life as it is a gift. My family, my home, my alcoholic stepfather are all a gift. A kind of gift that made me question the idea of peace and what it means for me and my family. There has never been a day that I sought out someone worse than him. I know that specifically for me, peace isn't just a calm, serene, and tranquil situation. It sometimes means leaning into discomfort and taking that imperfect step towards finding peace. It's the understanding of knowing to love everyone, my family, my siblings, for who they are, despite their troubles. I taught myself to love because and love despite, to know that hate never wins and to practice forgiveness. I look at life differently. I try my best not to compare my life to others, to see what I'm missing and to wish for something different. I know my situation is difficult, I know it's different, but in the end, all I can really do is be mindful and kind, to be gracious, thoughtful, and be good. As long as I'm at peace with myself, whether he comes around or not, at the end of the day, my family might be broken in some sense. The concept of peace in my life isn't the same as everyone else. The overall reality of life is nothing is perfect. There's no one true definition of peace as it is interpreted differently for others. Today, I shared with you all an aspect of life that has never been peaceful for me. But as long as I myself can be that beacon of peace for my family, that's all that really matters. Thank you.